For this bread, add 325 grams of water to your mixing bowl. I only added 300 grams, but then I remembered later that I needed 325. 10 grams of salt to the same mixing bowl, and then 100 grams of sourdough starter. For that, I got out my starter from the fridge the night before, and I fed it 50 grams of water, and then I gave that a good stir just to dissolve the starter into the water a little bit. Then I added 50 grams of whole wheat flour. So 50 grams of water, 50 grams of flour. That should leave me with 100 extra grams of starter for my recipe the following day. I stirred that all together, cleaned off the sides of the jar, marked the top of the starter with the rubber band, put the lid on, and I let this sit out on my counter for about 8 hours. It was overnight until it doubled in size and was looking like this. Then the next day I added 100 grams of that starter to the mixing bowl, and we're back to the main timeline. Once your starter, water, and salt are in the mixing bowl, go ahead and mix those together to dissolve the starter and salt into the water. Then this is a whole wheat sourdough bread, so add 450 grams of whole wheat flour to your mixing bowl. This is a hard red wheat flour. This is just the regular whole wheat flour that you find in most grocery stores. Go ahead and stir all of that together to form a dough. Depending on what brand or type of whole wheat flour you're using, your dough could end up dry like this, or not as dry if you have a different kind of flour. Mine, I realized, was too dry because I only added 300 grams of water, so I got my scale out and added back in the 25 grams that I knew this recipe was going to need. I don't know what I was thinking. So, once I have all the water in my recipe, I stirred it together, and it got to the consistency I was looking for, which is something like this. Once your dough comes together, go ahead and just cover it up with a kitchen towel and let the dough rest for 30 minutes at room temperature. This is just going to allow the dough to hold together a little bit better and prepare us for stretch and folds. Go ahead and grab an edge of the dough after the half-hour rest, pull it up and fold it over the dough. Then grab the next edge of the dough and do the same thing, stretch it up and fold it over. Keep going around the dough 5-6 times until your dough comes together, and you should feel it kind of tense up and hold together a little bit better than when you started stretching and folding. This is an alternative to kneading. You could knead this dough, but I highly recommend the stretch and fold method that you're seeing here. After that, cover up your dough with a kitchen towel and let it rest again for another half hour. After this, we're going to be adding the sesame seeds. So get out some sesame seeds. It doesn't matter if they're black or white. I am using black for the inside of the dough, and then white I'll put on top of the dough. So mine is a little bit of a mix. Go ahead and measure out 25 grams of sesame seeds right on top of your dough with your kitchen scale again. And then you're just going to kind of dimple those sesame seeds down into the dough so they stick, and then do another set of stretch and folds. This is going to incorporate the seeds inside of the dough in layers. So grab an edge and fold it over, stretch up and fold over the next edge, then keep going around about 5 or 6 times again until all the seeds kind of disappear inside of the dough. You'll still see some seeds, but that's totally fine. Then cover up your dough and let it rest for another half hour. By the way, if you like this recipe so far, I really think you'll like my sesame tahini sourdough bread, my apple cinnamon oatmeal sourdough bread, and my pumpkin sourdough bread with pumpkin seeds. You can get all these recipes in my ebook, No Nonsense Sourdough, which you can only find on my website, grantbakes.com/ebook. So go ahead and go there for 18 straightforward sourdough bread recipes. Now 30 minutes later, uncover your dough again. This is going to be the last set of stretch and folds. So sprinkle over another 25 grams of sesame seeds right on top of the dough. Then go ahead and dimple that down with your fingertips so the seeds stick to the dough again. And then do one last set of stretch and folds, stretching up and folding over, going around the bowl 4 or 5 times, folding over the dough so that the seeds are locked inside the dough in layers. After this last set of folds, the seeds should be pretty well distributed throughout the dough. So go ahead and flip the dough out onto the counter and then just give it a few cup and pulls to pull it into a ball, just like that. And then pop it back into your mixing bowl or a glass container where it can rise and go through bulk fermentation. Cover it up and let it rise till it's about doubled in size. For me, it took about 4 hours and my dough was looking like this. It was nice and puffy and light to the touch. My whole grain breads like this usually rise a little bit faster than my white flour breads, so yours might do the same. At this point, my dough is very easy to handle, so I didn't have any flour on the counter or anything. Take your dough out of the bowl and just shape it like this, cupping and pulling, shaping it into a round. This is called the pre-shape step. Later, we're going to shape it into an oval so it fits into a bread pan. But right now, just shape it into a round like this. And sometimes I don't cover my sourdough bread when it's resting on the counter, but I felt like this time it was going to dry out if I didn't. So I covered it up and let it rest for 30 minutes. And then I sprinkled the top with a little bit of whole wheat flour to create a non-stick barrier. So go ahead and sprinkle some flour on yours, and then flip the dough over onto the counter. And then you're going to give this a final shape as an oval. This is basically the same thing I do when I'm shaping a batard for a banneton basket, which you've seen before in other videos. So shape your dough into a square, fold the right third of the dough over the middle third, then fold the left third of the dough over the middle as well. Right and left for me, not for you. Then kind of flatten the dough where it meets in the middle. And then grab the end of the dough that's farthest away from you and start tucking and rolling it towards yourself. This is going to create a tight cylinder of dough. It's going to have some nice surface tension across the top, which is going to give the dough a nice dome shape when it puffs up in the pan. Then drop this into a standard loaf pan. This is my favorite non-stick pan from USA Pan. I've got an affiliate link in the description if you want to get the same one. Then I'm going to top this with white sesame seeds, but again, you can use whatever kind of sesame seeds you want. Wet the top with a little bit of water, and then pour as many sesame seeds on top of the dough as you desire. The seeds will stick to the wet top of the dough, and they'll look something like this. Then cover up your dough and let it rise on your counter. It should rise so that the dough is pretty much completely filling the pan. It should completely fill it till it's about double in size. Mine took about 4 hours at room temperature. The dough was light and puffy to the touch, and it was ready to bake. A half hour before my dough is ready, I preheated my oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit with a metal pan in the bottom rack. That way I can add steam to the oven later. So go ahead and load your bread onto the middle rack of your oven, and then carefully pour some hot water, about a cup of boiling water, on. Oh my goodness. Carefully pour in a cup of boiling water into that pan, and then your dough should be in a nice steamy environment while it's baking. Bake this for about 25 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and then remove the steam tray carefully once again, and continue baking for another 20 minutes. Remove the bread from the oven, and it should be looking something like this. Nice and toasted brown on top, as those white sesame seeds have transformed into toasted sesame seeds. Let your bread cool on a wire rack for at least an hour before you decide to slice in. And if you're wondering why your house smells so amazing right now, this is why. These toasted sesame seeds are the culprit, and I love the contrast between these white seeds on the outside and the black seeds that are peeking through the cracks in the dough. I think that looks pretty cool. It's been an hour later for me. I'm gonna go ahead and slice in and enjoy a piece of this bread. For a 100% whole grain dough, this bread was not heavy or dense at all. It was super light and fluffy. In terms of flavor, I love the crunch I get from the black sesame seeds that are speckled throughout the dough, as well as the toasted flavor from the white seeds on top. And like most of my sourdough breads, I love trying them out plain, but then I end up slathering some butter on a toasted piece of bread, and it's way better. So enjoy this bread however you want to, but whatever you do, make sure that you dunk your bread in your coffee. Trust me, it's so good. And click this link right here to check out my ebook, No Nonsense Sourdough. You'll get 18 recipes for creative sourdough breads with no unnecessary steps and no complicated terminology. Check it out at grantbakes.com/ebook, and I'll see you in the next video.